few trucks with the custom ranch beds, but around here you see most trucks with just normal beds, and sometimes they're built out. And I had this one laying around. The mirror's broken off, and I knew I wanted to do something with it, so I broke off this dumb 3-point thing, and we're going to work on it. All we got to do is get her done. I like tester's glue because it's pretty thin, so it just kind of conforms to what I'm painting. That's what I'm doing here to fill in some of the spots where the paint got ripped off and somewhere it didn't come with paint, and just to make it look nice. I like to use this crafter's glue. It's pretty much just a souped up Elmer's glue as far as I can tell. I'm going to use it to glue in my mirrors so that if I bump it, it will weaken it, but it doesn't knock them off, whereas super glue, it just snaps it right off. So it's hard to get a little blotch, so I had to rub some of that off. And then I'm just going to sit the mirror in, and this is something that you're going to have to sit and then come back in a little while, and then it will be dry. It occurs to me that I called this gooseneck ball hitch a 3-point before. That's not what it really is. I'm going to drill a little hole in the bed, and then I have this straight pin where it's just kind of like a little ball of something on the end, and I'm going to use that as my ball hitch. You have to cut the pin down, obviously, put some super glue in, just kind of get it adjusted to where you like it. There is a disadvantage to doing this, and I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, that's what we're doing. This headache rack and cattle guard kit also comes with some bed rails and a ball hitch. I got it from Lockwood, Angus, and that is what we're using to spruce this puppy up. So here's the front end now. Nice golden bow tie. And here you can see I put the cattle guard on and threw on some black paint on that bow tie just to kind of give it that kind of nicer look. It's not for everyone, but I thought it would be kind of neat to try it. And I didn't record putting the cattle guard on because although it's just gluing 2 spots down, it was kind of tricky. So that's why I chose to do that. So for the headache rack, I'm just putting a couple dabs of super glue, and there's actually a little gap in between the bed and the cab, so I'm just kind of grabbing some of that super glue and pushing it down in that. I didn't want to get super glue everywhere doing this. Kind of have to plan some of that out so it doesn't get to be more of a mess, but I ended up with some anyway, so I'm using my rag to wipe it off. I think this truck is a good example of what you can do if you're on a budget and don't want to spend a lot of time or money on something. A lot of these would be kind of modifications in real life that you might almost consider bolt on, and that's fine. It's not kind of for everyone, but a headache rack and the cattle guard and all that's just kind of an added accessory to make it look kind of cool, and there are some advantages to that. But here's another one. So I have this old command hook, and I used it because it's clear. I filed it down, and I'm actually making a light bar. I got the idea from my grandpa's truck, and there's this little spot where you can put it in here, and I'm just going to super glue her in, and it's not going to be something everyone notices, but it's going to be those little details, and it was pretty much free. So there you go. It's not the most noticeable, but it's kind of cool. It just adds something. So of course you need an exhaust. I have this little piece of pipe, and I'm going to cut it down, and the first thing you can notice is it's kind of thick. So it's just aluminum pipe. I believe I got it at a hardware store, but it's kind of thick. It's for model building and stuff, but an exhaust pipe is thin. So I'm using my X-Acto knife to kind of cut the inside down, and that just kind of gives it that more thin look. And then we're going to cut it and bend it and fit it in there just how we want it so it looks like the real deal. So the first thing to do is cut it. I love this technique. You just get your X-Acto knife and roll over it, and then it cuts it clean and straight. You don't have to worry about it bending. If you'd use like cutters, like it would smash it. So I saw pictures online where it kind of sticks out the corner there, so we're just going to try to bend it, and yeah. So I ended up cutting it down, smashing the end in, and then I got to bend it a little. Just a little dab of super glue, and we're going to throw her on there, just right on top of that old, dumb plastic cast one. You can move it around a little bit right away, but the longer you wait, the less of a good bond you'll get with your super glue. Call me biased, but just that exhaust is probably what could make this truck better anyways. So something else you might want to do is add new wheels and tires. It's something I just chose not to do this time. I did choose to add a toolbox. So if you remember back to the cattle trailer video I made, I cut out some diamond plating of the trailer, and that piece was just perfect. It gave me the idea to make a toolbox. I actually took some paper over that and then pressed it in, and it gave me that kind of design on the paper. I got a square tube glued on. Next thing we know, here it is. You could probably get something better 3D printed, but this was free. It used things I had, challenged me a little bit. That's kind of just fun for me. If I'd actually really want this truck to look like stellar, I'd probably get a 3D printed one, but for me it works, and that's kind of what part of the hobby is for me, so that's why I did it that way. I think that's just a nice little detail, and it slides right in there, so I'm not even going to glue it down. That way I can take it out if I want. Who knows? So here is one of the issues I was talking about. So with that ball hitch, the trailer sits on it, but it rubs on the rails of the bed, and that's not good. So what I'm thinking is I'll put this old thing back in there. I'll just take it for pictures or something. I'm not going to be playing with this most likely, although sometimes you do get bored when you're on the workbench, but that's beside the point. So it doesn't quite fit on the ball. I think I could carve out a little piece, and like I said, it's just for pictures, so it doesn't really matter all that much as long as it just looks right. It doesn't necessarily have to fit perfect, and you can see that that's kind of how you want it. It has that more space, so you're not whacking stuff and all that. Then the little ball hitch it came with works on a little trailer, big trailer. I had this little one sitting here, so I kind of think that's cool how Greenlight did that. So you probably don't need such a big truck for a small trailer, though. And it's stuck. Goodness. There. And you could throw some feed in there, too. Whatever. So it might make more clearance issues. I don't know. But I'm going to glue on these bed rails. They came with them, so I figured why not give them a try. So I'm just putting a couple dabs of super glue on each side, and then attaching one end to the toolbox and the other end just on the bed. And like so. I'm having a little trouble getting it to stick, so I had to get some tweezers, and we're going to lift that up. Some BSI Instaset would be really good for this, except for some reason I'm not using it, and that would probably be a good thing to do. I don't really have a good place to take pictures inside, so I made up this little mini display. It's just going to be like a little parking lot, and I'm going to use my black background is the background, and it's black, and here's the truck finished, and I kind of like the look that this gives us. Just to go over it, we added a headache rack, bed rails, a toolbox, a cattle guard, painted the bow tie black, fixed the mirror, added an exhaust, and a ball hitch for the gooseneck trailer. I think this truck would look good as like a contractor's truck, like a construction boss or something. I might use it as a farm truck. I don't know. I just like it. Make sure you go check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe if you feel like it. And thanks for stopping by.